Which camera bag should I buy? 7 things for you to think about. Hi and welcome to episode 98 of the Photography Explained podcast. Episode 98, would you believe it? I'm your host Rick, and in each episode I will try to explain one photographic thing to you in plain English in less than 10 minutes-ish without the irrelevant details. What I tell you is based on my lifetime of photographic experience and not Google. And I was hoping to get to episode 100 and remember all this, but I've failed anyway. Before I go on, if you have a question you would like me to answer, just go to photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. Here is the answery bit. The camera bag that you will buy will depend on the types of photography that you do, that was 1. 2, how much gear you have. 3, how realistic you are about how much gear you really need to carry. 4, how much money you are prepared to invest. 5, how many bags are acceptable to you. There are 2 more, but I will get onto them later. And that is my answer. Now, that might not have been the answer that you're expecting, but for me, these are the important things. Everything else is just stuff and nonsense. So let's look at each of these in a bit more detail. 1, the types of photography that you do. Now, this is a major influence. If you're a landscape photographer, you will have different needs to someone working in a studio. And if you do more than one type of photography, don't worry. I have the answer for you in a bit. So going back to the landscape photographer, you'll need a bag that's lightweight, waterproof, probably a backpack. A bag that you can carry as you walk for miles and miles. Sounds nice, doesn't it? And if you're a landscape photographer, you'll need space for non-photography stuff like food and drinks. You mustn't forget that. Yeah, you got all your gear and everything, but it's stupid things like where do you put your coat? Where do you put a drink? Because you don't want to put a drink, believe me, inside a camera bag. And that's the last thing you want to do. So it's just something you have to think about. If, on the other hand, you're a studio photographer, you'll have completely different needs. I mean, you might want to use a roller bag or a hard case that keeps all your gear together in one place that you're not going to lug too far. A wedding photographer will need a small lightweight bag with just the essentials as they're on the feet for a long time in the day. I mean, I really do not envy wedding photographers at all. Poor things. It's hard work, and I've done it once and I won't be doing it again, I can assure you. And if you're photographing construction sites like me, you'll need a lightweight bag that leaves your hands free for climbing up and down ladders. There are obviously many more scenarios, and I'm not going to go into them all here. All I want you to do is think about the photography you're going to do and have a good old think about the right bag for you. I mean, I'll come on to the different types of bags, but this is going to be a massive influence on the bag that you buy. So decide what you need your camera bag for, and then start looking. Okay, let's move on. 2, how much gear you have. How much gear do you have? This will determine the size of the bag that you need. You need a bag that's big enough to take all your gear. Or do you? And the type of gear will dictate the size of the bag. My Micro Four Thirds gear fills only half of my small backpack. And think about this as well. Where are you going to put your tripod? 3, how realistic you are about how much gear you really need to carry. And I mean really need to carry. This is important. Now, you might have loads of camera gear. Look at you. But do you need to have it all with you every time you go anywhere? If you think so, then you will need a big bag. You'll also need a strong back and the patience of I don't know what to lug all that stuff around. How do I know this? Because this is what I used to do. I used to pack everything that I could into a massive bag that I could barely get on my back and struggle around everywhere lugging all this weight and generally hating photography just for this single reason. Now, the only positive thing that came out of this was the health benefits. It was, to be fair, a form of badly designed exercise. So do you really need all your gear in one bag? Well, do you? Really think about this, and I'll tell you what I do later. 4, how much money you are prepared to invest. Now, it's easy for me to sit here and say you should buy the best bag that you can, but these are not cheap. But I will counter that by saying that if you're going to spend, say, £2,000 on a camera and lens, they deserve some decent protection. You are, after all, protecting your investment. So when you're budgeting for a new camera, you really should factor in the cost of the right bag to protect that precious gear. Okay. Number 5, how many bags are acceptable to you? What? Well, this was my light bulb moment after many years trying to find the perfect camera bag. In my opinion, the perfect camera bag does not exist. The perfect camera bag does not exist. Right, I've said it. Okay, so the perfect camera bag, which will be perfect for every different scenario and situation, in my opinion, does not exist. And if you don't agree with me, absolutely fine. Just tell me what that perfect bag is, because I've never found it. Once I realised this, the problem of finding the perfect camera bag just went away. Many photographers like myself have more than one camera bag, and we switch from bag to bag depending on the need. I have a bag for the gear that I need and a bag for everything else. No one camera bag works for every situation, so budget permitting, the long-term solution to which camera bag to buy is probably which camera bags to buy. 6. The purpose of a camera bag. I didn't want to include this in the list before. There's no real reason why, and I can't think of one now I've got here, but I'll crack on. It's not a problem. The purpose of a camera bag is to protect your precious camera gear and help you to take photos. That is the purpose. The purpose of a camera bag is not to make you look good. Oh no, it's to protect your gear. We mustn't forget that. 7. Types of bags. Well, there are many different types of bags out there. These are some of them. I'm not saying this is all the types. Shoulder bag. I have one of these. Messenger bag. I used to have one of these. Rolling cases. I've never had one of these. Hard cases. I used to have one of these. Backpack. I have about 5 of these, one I use every day. Sling bags. I used to have one of these, didn't get on with it. Pouches. I have 2 of these. Holster cases. I used to have one of these. Normal bags. What do I mean by normal bags? Well, these are camera bags that don't look like camera bags. They just they look like a normal bag, surprisingly. And it's a stunning idea, isn't it? Because you think about it, a camera bag looks like a camera bag, and it looks like it's got lots of expensive stuff in there that someone might nick. Or is that just me being paranoid? And then lastly, inserts for a normal bag. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? You can get these inserts that replicate the inside of a camera bag that you can put in any bag, which I think is a great idea. And I've done it with something similar, which I use on a daily basis. Talking of which, what do? Well, I use a backpack for everyday use, and I have the spare gear in a shoulder bag that sits in the boot of my car. I also have several other bags that I use when the situation demands. And I use the same backpack, it's not a tricky word, is it? For travel, and it doubles as my hand luggage, the talky bit. Oh, by the way, I'm not going into specific camera bag makes and models that I use, or it will sound too much like an advert, which I don't want. So which camera bag should you buy? No idea. What is the perfect bag? No idea. Have I found the perfect bag for me? No. Like I say, I use 2 bags with another few which are called into use for specific things. And I've bought and sold lots of other bags over the years. And this really is my point. In my opinion, there is no one perfect camera bag. So don't go looking for it. And if you do find it, like I say, let me know. But get the best bag for your needs now and use it to the full. And if it's not big enough, not good enough, or there are things you don't like about it, which you will only find out, to be honest, by using it, then either live with it or get something else. And this is part of the problem. You only learn if you really like a camera bag after you've used it for some time. Okay, protect your gear. A quick reminder, the purpose of your camera bag is to protect your camera and help you with your photography, okay? So help with your photography, what do I mean? I mean help you to take photos, help you to be comfortable, something that's easy to use, easy to get to stuff, easy to put stuff away, something that's a pleasure to use. Right then, bag's done. That was nice and quick. Related episodes? Well, there aren't any, to be honest. This is the first time I've talked about camera bags, and there's nothing that relates, so I'm going to move on. And next episode is Photography Explained Podcast episode 99. And do you know what that's going to be? Neither do I. I don't know. I've not written a title yet. I've got episode 100 looming, and I feel the need to do something spectacularly, stunningly special. So just follow my podcast if you aren't already, and let's all treat the next episode a surprise. Well, it's going to be it'll be a surprise to you and me, because I've got no idea at the moment. Any ideas, feel free to let me know, and I can get a recording done. Shout out. Shameless plug, shout out to me and my new course. You can find out more at rickmcavoyphotography.com/courses. Well, if I can't promote myself here, where can I? Okay, I'm done. Thanks for listening to my small but perfectly formed podcast, as I like to say. To find out more about my podcast and do stuff to help me, check out photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. Brought to you by, well, this episode was brought to you by some lovely water. And I'm not going to lie to you, a ham sandwich on brown bread, which was very nice. It's too early for a beer, unfortunately, so it's just water at the moment. Okay then, I've been Rick McAvoy. Thanks again very much for listening to me and for giving me just under 12 minutes of your valuable time. And I will see you on the next episode, whatever that might be. Cheers from me, Rick.